Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back to another exciting head scratching episode of Insane Disappearance. I know I was late with the head scratching part. That was my fault. I will rewind it, but that would be silly. But anyway, today, guys, just want to say, as you know, Brother Man still be working. Brother Man, I may have mentioned this in my last video that, my little girl was graduating high school, and she went to her prom and everything. So I just been so busy with all that stuff. And I was hanging out with her yesterday, and it was my day off and everything. We had so much fun, father and daughter hanging out, what I'm saying. My little girl, she grown, but, she ain't grown, but, she's a woman now, so just was so proud of her, we're having so much fun, and I've just been so busy, and I've been thinking about what I wanted to do for my next episode, and I realized that I haven't done a video about one of the most mysterious yet telling disappearances or deaths within the national park thing. Would be none other than the Henry McCabe case. Because we're talking about a mysterious death where there was no marks on the body whatsoever. Yet you get this very weird, very strange, very weird sounding and strange sounding voicemail that he sent to his wife 20 minutes after he was dropped off by his good friend Henry. No, wait, I don't think his name was Henry. Wait a minute. I think it was. Something like that. Let me see. Hold on. Yeah, I was trying to make sure I was able to say it without having to go back to it, but that didn't work. His friend's name was, let me see, William Kennedy. Okay. His friend, William Kennedy. So that right there is one of the craziest cases. I mean, we're talking about a man who is 32 years old. Okay. And he migrated over here from Liberia back in early 2000. Okay. And he meets this woman around the same time he's doing this thing, with, I think, he was an auditor. So I think he met her at maybe at a convention, and they got married. And, next thing you know, he's having all these problems with his job. He's getting all these complaints, and all these things start happening to him. And then he ends up getting a divorce from his wife, and she's a very beautiful woman too, And he ends up moving out. He got his own place, got his own house. Now on, I believe it was Memorial Day weekend, he's going out with some friends, including this guy, William Kennedy, and they go out for drinks at a place called, what's the name of that bar? It's a bar. What do they call that place? Where does he even mention it? Because some of the information you don't see, and some of it that you do, it just depends on where you're going and where you're getting the information from. I don't see the name of the bar on here. Shoot. I was looking something up earlier about him, and it mentioned the name of the bar. So, let's see. It's my cousin texting me about something. But anyway, so his friend, he drops him off at a gas station that he said was close to his house. And when he was questioned again, he had clarified that he mentioned, he mentioned a different gas station. He was, something. It was kind of interesting because Kenny he actually had the house keys of Henry McCabe, which was crazy. So he couldn't really go anywhere. So how could he go home to his house and he got his house keys? Because obviously his house keys had his car keys on it. So he drives him home. He probably was going to go back and get them when he sobers up, so he can go get his car and do what he got to do. But it says right here Kennedy has the house keys of Henry McCabe. Yet he told him he dropped him off at a different gas station from the one that he said was by his house. So how could you drop him off and all of a sudden you realize, oh, I got his house keys. So now the man's missing. Nobody can find him. And he's gone for a couple of days. And then they said they couldn't find him for 3 months. And then all of a sudden, boom, there he is in that lake. Let me see if I can get the name of that lake. Because it says that they found his body in that lake. So I think they mentioned the name of the lake, obviously. I knew the name of that darn lake, but I forgot. Okay, that was, come on now, I know you here somewhere. Okay, will you stop texting me, Jamel? Jeez, no. Because, like I said, okay. I just saw it. Oh boy. I mean, I literally just saw it, and I was trying to get it up here. Then I was like, oh snap, let me check that out again. And poof, there it goes. Okay. Jeez, come on now. Because like I said, I noticed that a lot of information is not compiled together on some of the information you find on the internet. On one page, you'll find the name of everything. And on the next page, you have a little puff piece, just bits and pieces of it, because the story's been ran so many times, so they figure, oh, they already know the information anyway, so they just put little pieces. Okay, the place is called Rush Lake. That's where he ended up at. When they finally found his body, which was 3 months later, they couldn't find him for them 3 months, and all of a sudden, poof, there he is, in Rush Lake. And when they found the body in the location they found him at, which was 4 miles away from where he was last seen. 4 miles. Okay, first of all, they didn't ever think that anybody would ever even walk that far from where they were, 4 miles, without tearing up their feet or something like that. That's a lot of walking, unless you took a lot of breaks in between that time. But the fact that there was no marks on his body whatsoever. And then, of course, you got the infamous recording, which is kind of crazy because all you hear is the growling, the moaning, the crying. But yet they're telling you, then somebody says, stop it. So you didn't think that was important enough for us to hear, actually, just because you said it. Why do you leave that part out? I guess because they didn't want nobody to recognize the voice or whoever it may be. But what was that creature that was growling into the phone? Think about it. All these questions we keep asking about why they be disappearing. Who is it? What is it that be devouring the human bodies? When all they find is tiny little bits of bone or a tibia inside of a sock. You remember that story about that young 18-year-old or 21-year-old who was found in the woods in pieces, literally, and found a tibia in the sock that was still in the shoe. Or the sock had a tibia bone in it. But they said bits and pieces of bone be scattered everywhere. So with him, it's different. You hear him moaning and groaning in pain. You hear growling. The man is in distress. Yet nothing shows on the body that he was killed. Yet here he is dead. Deader than a doornail. You can't figure out why he died. So the question is, what was that creature? How was it that he was able to be killed, yet doesn't show how he was killed? That's the biggest mystery of all. How do they do that? I've been hearing certain snippets of information from, like this story about these two men that was dressed in these little, suits like the Men in Black, right? And they had sunglasses on and everything. And they said that they had to go back home, and they took a pill that would kill them, but it would not leave any trace of how they died in their system. Think about it. A pill that can kill you, but never leaves a trace of how you died in your system. Because to this day, they don't know how they died. They just found their bodies in this area where there's a lot of brush, grass and stuff. I can't remember too much about the case, but they had a lot of weird stuff with them. Like merchandise that they had, like these sunglasses, and there was some other stuff that they had. I can't remember too much about it. I think they talked about it on Coast to Coast AM once, and I looked up the story. It was a pretty crazy story. But like I said, with this story, finding his body the way they did without a cause of death, yet he's dead, and you see, well, not see, but hear the recording of this, you be like, really? What the heck? So I actually have it right here, so we can play it if you want to hear it. And I know you probably already heard it before. So, and you know me, I'm so low tech. I got my phone here, so I have to play it from here. And I'm sitting over here talking, and I don't have my microphone in front of me. Isn't that crazy? It's one of those days. I'm actually preparing to go to work, but I don't have to be working until much later. So I wanted to try and get this in so that I could, get you guys up to par with everything that's going on. I want to get it right to the part where it actually plays the recording. Hold on. That way I won't be wasting nobody's time here. I find a spot where they actually play the recording. But there was a part where they slowed it down too. It was weird. Oh, here we go. This is the part where they slow it down. And it sounds even more creepy this way. Oh boy. See, I went to a link that didn't go straight to YouTube, so start from the beginning, but it still ain't doing nothing. There we go. Sorry about that, guys. Let's see. Trying to get this thing to play. Okay, here we go.
Calls Henry's cell. He answers but tells Karine he'll call her back. Karine then receives a call from Henry, but thinks he may have pocket dialed as she can hear him talking to someone. Karine then receives a voicemail from Henry. Warning: the following audio clip is distressing.
Yeah. This is the part where they slow it down. It sounds even more creepy. That's him. Sound like a Tyrannosaurus Rex.
It is hard to determine if Henry is screaming or crying. Karine called.
Anyway, so that's the recording. In regular time and slowed down so you can really hear the distress in his tone, from whatever it is this thing that's growling at him is doing to him. Now, I've talked about different species of being. Okay, I was on Facebook talking about this with something else, dealing with a person's experience. And there are different species of being that come to this level through portals. Okay, it's like I told you, Bigfoot is one of them. They are dimensional. That's the reason why you can never find them when you want to. They slip in and out of these different wormholes that go to these other levels that they actually come from, and they can literally go back and forth. Now, the reason why something like that would be is because their mind is at a higher consciousness than ours is, which would be the reason why they can do that. But it's just something natural that they do. It's not like a superpower. It's not like you get a superpower from elevating your mind. It's something that you are already capable of. It's just that you had to reach that level. And it becomes a natural ability. It doesn't become a superpower or a gift, or even an ability that comes from the creator. Yeah, the creator does do that. Okay, that's where you get it from. But anyway, okay. But with this here, very, very strange. The question would be, what was that? What was that? It growled. So it wasn't. And I think that people have listened to it. They talked about it on the Coast to Coast AM. And I think David Paulides was the one that showcased it, because that was a missing 411 case. And he had some type of, I think he had like an expert that came in saying that there was, or he talked to someone that was an expert in, animal growls and stuff like that, and knowing the difference between the different ones. They said that growl came from no known. Sorry, my Siri just activated again on his own. You see my hands was right here the whole time, and you heard it. That happens a lot on my channel. Why? I don't know. But anyway, so okay, that's what I was saying. But anyway, yeah, with that case is very weird. And the only thing I can think of is that it is a creature. Oh yeah, I know what I was saying. David Paulides, he said he talked to someone and said that growl came from no known animal that he knows of, or anyone else that he may have talked to said the same thing. So this creature, whatever it is an unknown creature that somehow got to this level through dimensional travel. Because there are animals or creatures that, sorry about the look off, I saw something in my window. But there are creatures out there who are different species of being. And that's basically what everything is. These different species of being have too many labels. We are a species of being. Human beings. But yet, we're labeled with black, white, Puerto Rican, Haitian, Indian, all that. We're all one race. Human beings. One race, human. The colors don't matter. They really don't. We are human beings. And I know people know that, but they don't go by that. They'll still say, they call them by their color, or recognize them by their color, whatever, But yeah, that's getting off the subject. Yeah, I talk about a lot of different things, but the main subject, of course, is Henry McCabe. And an update, of course, on the little boy, the one that I talked about not too long ago. He was found, thank goodness. I was very, very glad about that. He was found at the bottom of a cliff, which is, pretty crazy, and he was fine. Barely a scratch on him. He looked a little dirty, but other than that, he was fine. He was healthy. They tested him for hypothermia, but that's pretty much all they said about it. They didn't go into too much detail. Just the fact that he's okay and that he's being tested for hypothermia, because he was out there for 3 days, and they were trying to figure out how is it that he could have gotten away. I mean, a lot of kids do that. They get away from their area, they get away from their parents, and they wander off, and before you know it, they're gone. And then now you have to go find them because you knew that you was watching them, and that's going to make you feel bad. But you didn't mean to let it happen. You're on the porch, you're talking to a friend, and you got distracted enough for your son to get out of your sight and wander off somewhere, and ends up 3 days later, surviving somehow, at the bottom of a hill. And it says here, revealed how Kentucky toddler who survived 3 nights on a rugged hill after wandering from his front yard with no food or water was found after rescuers followed his cries as he is treated for dehydration, not hypothermia, dehydration. Okay, so that's pretty much everything else. The recap was basically what you already know. Okay, his father was standing outside talking to someone on his porch, and his son was in the yard doing whatever it is that little kids do, and all of a sudden he runs off. And before his father knows it, he's already halfway gone to wherever it is he ended up at. He wandered off into the woods, he walked wherever he did, stayed where he was for 3 days, and they found him. And the crazy part was he was partially naked. They already said that he was wearing red pants that day with a shirt on. But yet, you at the bottom of this hill, half naked, with just your underwear and I think your shoes on. Maybe he got too hot and he took his clothes off. That would be a case of hypothermia. But I'm not going to say the boy didn't know how to take his clothes off. I'm not going to say he didn't know how to put his clothes on. But the fact is, he was naked almost. Nothing but his underwear on. And he was dirty. How, within them 3 days, did he even think to do that? Was he too hot and he wanted to take his clothes off? Because I'm thinking if he was there for 3 days, the sun was probably beaming down. He was probably hot and he couldn't go anywhere. He didn't know where to go, so he took his clothes off to cool off. Because he probably walks around the house all the time with his shirt and his underwear on. A lot of kids do that at that age. I'm pretty sure I did it. I just don't remember. But they do that. So there's probably something that he knew to do, so he took his shirt and his pants off because he probably did it around his house all the time, especially in the summer, running around with no shoes on, just his bare feet, like all kids do at that age. Looking all cute. So, so maybe that's what it was. He got used to that way of life, so he took his clothes off and started moving around to feel comfortable. Cool air probably cooled his body off. He probably was too hot, and he knew to take his clothes off. So he probably before he was probably saying, "Mommy, hot," and she would take his clothes off, make him feel cool. He running around the house, the air blowing against his body and stuff. So that what I would think would be the reason why, if that was the case. But I don't know. I was not there. All I can say is how did he know to take his clothes off at his age? How young that boy is. Okay, very young. Very young. But yet they found him. Okay. He was a toddler. You know how old toddlers are. He's 22 months. 22 months. Not saying, like I said, not saying that he didn't know how to take his clothes off, but how did he know to take them off at 22 months? I don't know. At 22 months, my daughter wasn't doing that. Okay? We were doing the taking off the clothes and putting the clothes back on. So, I don't know. But anyway, but that's my take on him. And also there's my take on Henry McCabe. Very strange case. Nobody can seem to figure out how the man died. There's no GHB in his system. No, there wasn't any in his system. He was just dead. After hearing that voicemail, you would think that that thing tore into him, ripped his guts apart, and ate it from the inside, the way they normally do, if it's a predator. But he didn't. All you're hearing is growling, and maybe he had an innate ability to somehow disrupt the nervous system in your body from the outside. And that's why he was moaning in pain. Maybe that was just an ability he had. And it got to the point, and it got so bad, the trauma probably killed him. Now, they didn't check his heart rate to see if there was any trauma to the heart before he died, like it overloaded or something. Because they do have signs of that. So I think it's like friction inside the heart because it's beating too fast. So that something excited him and probably caused his heart to stop. I don't know. They never said that part. But they know they got a really crazy case when you're talking about a man who had a voicemail of something growling in his face and he's in there moaning and groaning in pain. You can tell he's in distress, but it doesn't show that he ever was, like as if, let's just say, it clawed into him just to eat him from an area where he could probably still talk before he passed out from being traumatized by what he's seeing with his own eyes. He's being eaten alive. You know, I don't know. But these things come up when you're hearing a creature like this growling into the phone. How did he make him die? That's the question. How did he die? If it didn't show how he died, it just, you hear something going on. He's in distress. He's moaning. He's crying out in pain. Okay, you hear it. Something is happening to him. And then you hear that growl. So I would think this creature is what's causing that. And I would think it was started out like that, like he was eating him alive while he was trying to call before it happened. And then bam, he's chomping at part of his body and he's feeling it. That's what it sounded like. But when they find the body, it's fully attached. Okay? Intact. I'm just saying. What made that man die? Obviously, that creature has something to do with it. Did he have some type of, like I said, mental ability where he could disrupt the nervous system of the human body to the point where you die from trauma of the pain that he causes you or it causes you? I don't know. I be thinking about some weird shit, but when you hear that, it makes you think that stuff. At least me, anyway. I don't know about you, but that's what I be thinking. You know, it would have to be something of that nature for it to not show that he was killed or murdered or slaughtered or devoured. There wouldn't be nothing left anyway if he was devoured, so I know that wasn't it. So what was it? Was it that? Think about it. Anyway, I'm going to let that marinate inside your mind and have you thinking even more about this Henry McCabe case, because you got to get away from anything to say that Friends has something to do with it, because the outcome of the death doesn't make any sense. No human could ever do something like that. And if they did, they ain't telling nobody about it. Maybe they got the ability. I don't know. Events were set up for him to end up where he was. That's the way it seems to some people. But it's just something that just happened. Something that we can't explain. But it's there for you to describe what's going on if you really think about it. But nobody wants to go that far, because they know once you get rid of all the logical explanations, then you start digging into the really crazy ones. The ones that make no sense. The ones you can't explain. Like werewolves or cryptic creatures or aliens that devour humans because they hate humans. They would soon rather consume you than shake your hand or help you with worldly events. Just saying. Anyway, guys, I got to go because I only got but so much time left. I normally want to be out of here at a certain time so I can be at work at a certain time, which I got to be at about 3 o'clock. So, you know how I ended in my brown outfit and this hair. I want to do it like this, the way I always do. And you know how that goes. I throw up the shaka, right? And I say, aloha, mahalo, and ahui ho. Peace out, brother, and peace out, wahine. All right. Hope you enjoyed the show.